What's up everybody, my name's Big Cam and welcome back to another movie review, and today we are talking about 2011's Scream 4. And this is coming, I think, 15 years after the original Scream, which I think was 96, and coming after Scream 3, which was 2000. So it's 11 years since the previous film. So watching Scream 4, I was like, damn, is this going to be like a reboot? Is this just going to be like one of those sequels that shouldn't have been a sequel? And honestly, still from director Wes Craven, the fourth film is pretty damn good. You know, the biggest thing in the fourth film that I noticed, going from, you know, watching them only a day apart instead of watching them 11 years apart, you see Courtney Cox in the first three films and she's gorgeous and super young, and then by the fourth film you can tell her face has either aged or she's gotten some really bad work done. You know, because one of two things has happened, you know, and either way she just looks so much different. It, like, by this point it's like, yeah, I was like, oh boy, that's post Friends, I think, 2011. But, you know, Gale Weathers is not really as big a character in the fourth film, and Dewey is still there. David Arquette, of course, returns. And, you know, each time they come out with this cast that's like young at the moment, but then they end up doing big things with their careers. And, you know, people like Emma Roberts, who I knew from Unfabulous, you know, she's playing like a cousin to Sidney Prescott. HAYDEN Panettiere, I remember growing up, she was on a bunch of stuff, and, you know, she was in the movie Dinosaurs, what? But she was in Remember the Titans, you know, she was in a bunch of stuff that, like, growing up I remember seeing. Bring It On, I Love You, Beth Cooper, Racing Stripes. So she's been in a few things. I really like her. She played Kirby. Anthony Anderson was playing Deputy Perkins. Of course, Anthony Anderson, everybody knows. Adam Brody was like a young deputy in this, Deputy Haas. RORY CULKIN, which maybe is like the third Culkin brother with Macaulay and Kieran, maybe? You know, he kind of vaguely, you know, looks like them. But RORY CULKIN, it says he's been in a few things as well, but does it say, oh yeah, brother of actors Macaulay and Kieran. So yeah, he is the younger brother of those other two, and probably the least famous of the three. But, like, there's also people like Alison Brie in here in this, and I was like, oh shit, Alison Brie's gone on to have a big career after this. Marley Shelton plays Deputy Judy Hicks. She comes back in the next film as well. And, like, you know, there's always the people that are in it though, like Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette are like the only one that has been in like all of the movies. And like most of the people from the previous films can't return because they were killed by Ghostface, right? So each of the movies, though, I've been thoroughly enjoying. The third one, if you guys haven't watched it, you know, spoilers, but the third movie, the killer was the long-lost brother, or like Roman, the director of like the film that was going on. And I think 3 was probably the worst of the bunch so far, genuinely. And 2 I thought was pretty good. 1 is probably still the best at the moment. But 4 I really liked and genuinely thought it was like a good movie. And then once it comes to like the revealing the ghost face, you're like, oh, okay, it's 2 people again, like the original film. And they're close to the people in the film, right? Like, you see the killer unmasked a bunch in this film, where some of the other movies it felt like, oh, that person's the killer, and it's like, well, that person hasn't really been around the whole fucking time, so yeah, he could have been the killer, but also like he just wasn't around, so like, you know, what says he is or not? Like some of the other people, like in the first movie, you kind of know it's Stu and the boyfriend, and you're going back and forth like, is it one of them? And then you come to find out that there's 2 killers, and you're like, oh, okay, I see it, you know. And then it's nice that like the friend group around are like, they're like, I'm not the killer, you might be the killer, and then one of them ends up being the killer, you know. And it felt like maybe in the second and third movie that didn't really happen a whole lot, maybe more so in the second one with Timothy Olyphant's character. But then they kind of got away from having the person directly in like the group with the long lost mom of Billy Loomis, you know what I mean? And like, and then in the third, they made up the story that like, oh, the mom that we never found out about from the first movie, long lost son, she was an actress, it was fucked up shit going on with her and the Hollywood studios. Like, the first 2 Scream movies I really liked. The third one I liked, but I was like, that was dumb. You know, once they finally show you who the killer is, I was like, that was dumb. But in like the 4th film, they revealed the killer, and I was like, Emma Roberts? Tiny little girl? Like, how is she stabbing a knife through a door? Let alone all the other feats of strength that the Ghostface ends up doing. She's this tiny girl. Like, she's gotta weigh 120 pounds, soaking wet. You know, like, she's tiny girl. Like, if they could show me a video of her stabbing a knife through a door, I would maybe believe that she would be strong enough to handle the movie and what she's done. Like, Sidney Prescott, even Neve Campbell in some of the other movies, I'm like, god damn, she's fucking badass bitch. She's doing a lot of these stunts and like stuff like that. It's like, you almost believe Sidney Prescott's a badass and Neve Campbell's a badass. Where Emma Roberts being the killer badass bitch, I was like, I don't know if I believe that. But, of course, she doesn't end up being like the mastermind behind it all, and she's like, I had it all planned out, and then she ends up, you know, dying. You know, but like, she thought she was gonna, you know, kill Sidney Prescott and get away with it, and then Sidney just won't die, and she's fucking strong ass bitch herself. And like, she also had Rory Culkin as the other killer, because there's always like 2 killers. Rory Culkin was one and Emma Roberts was the other. So I was like, that's a pretty good one. I kind of called him, and Emma Roberts I didn't see coming, but I was also kind of like, is that believable that she's the killer? You know, like, the little tiny girl? It is what it is. But, you know, at some moments you see her on the phone and you see Ghostface at the exact same time. So obviously when you could see her in Ghostface at the same time, it's obviously Rory Culkin as the Ghostface then. But, like, still, I go, what was his motive? He just was a big fan of movies and stuff like that? Yeah, I guess the Stab movies are all kind of like that. They're trying to recreate the original Stab movie. I like this one, though, slightly more than the third, maybe along the lines of the same as the second one. You know, my ranking currently would be Scream 1, probably Scream 2, Scream 4, and then Scream 3. And yeah, I'm definitely going to continue on. I did watch Scream 5, so stay tuned for maybe tomorrow's movie review will be Scream 5. And then I haven't watched Scream 6, and I haven't seen it streaming anywhere. So if you guys know where Scream 6 is streaming, please drop those down in the comment section below and drop your score out of 5 stars for Scream 4. For me, overall, I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, about a 7 out of 10. Overall, out of a true 10 score, I'd probably give it like a 7.6, 7.7. It is what it is. It's pretty good, but it's not better than the first one. And honestly, I've already watched the 5th one, and I don't think it's that better than the 5th one either. So it's good. It's better than the 3rd one for sure, and it's probably just as good as the 2nd one. But for me, you know, like, these movies are gruesome, they're slashers, they're bloody, they're horror, they're thriller, you know, they're all those things. But they're not too scary. And for me, the aspect that I've been really loving about them is trying to figure out who's under the mask, you know, and the murder mystery of it all, like, who's doing this and why, you know, and then by the end they reveal it. It's almost like a heist movie where, like, they rob the place and then at the very end of the movie they unfold how they did it. You know, like, there's killings, and then all of a sudden it's like the person unfolds their plan, like, I did this because you're an asshole and you forgot about me, you know, that whatever their reason is. But like, there's always that moment at the end, and I really enjoy the unmasking of Ghostface and be like, who is it? Ah, I guessed it, you know, or I didn't guess it, I didn't see it coming, that type of thing. But comment below your thoughts on the killers of the first 4 Scream movies. How have you enjoyed the first Scream movies? Is it your first time watching them? Have you been big fans of these movies for a long time? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below, or you can send them to me on my other social medias. Links for those down in the description below. Once again, my name is Big Cam, 2 G's in that big, pretty much anywhere. Just look for my face and you'll find me. Thank you guys so much for stopping on by, and if you've made it this far into the video, the best way to support the channel is liking this video, commenting down in the comment section below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hitting that bell so you don't miss future movie reviews and you get the notifications when those come out. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Peace!